What's the difference between augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality? It is a range of experiences. On one hand, we have virtual reality, which is a total immersive experience where you put on a headset and you are disconnected from your environment. Everything you see and interact is a 3D generated object. And on the other hand, for augmented reality, you have a connection to your environment, like in HoloLens, and you have some extra information, maybe 3D or maybe audio information that's available to you, which is augmenting your reality. Also, we have mobile phone applications like Pokemon Go. You are looking through the glass of your phone and you're able to find 3D objects in the real world. And this whole range of experiences we call mixed reality. And short, it's called XR.
Hi, Louise. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. You are going to present an awesome session. You're going to talk about the privacy and the marketing challenges in XR worlds. A very, very important session because we see that this technology is embracing and is growing, and these challenges will now rise. So that's a very good topic.
Absolutely, and really urgent one, because if we are building like a second version of the web, then it's important for us to take heed on what we did, and try and do it a bit better this time.
Yeah, yes, indeed. So the floor is yours. Good luck with your session.
Thank you very much.
I will add your screen share to it and remove myself. Good luck.
Thank you, Shukia. And thank you all for being here. My name is Luis Martins. I have been working in the intersection of technology and marketing since since like the past century. Yes, I come from a world without internet, and actually this is an important part, because at that time we didn't have like mobile phones, and mobile phones clearly changed the way we did so many things and consume advertising. I come from a world where when I stepped out of the university, I took a marketing major. Agencies were prized much more by their creativity awards rather than for anything that was measurable. Actually, the only things that got measured, I think, were the printing numbers of newspapers and magazines. So it was a very, very different world. And today, if we see what's happening, so social media, advertising, and search engine advertising pretty much are the main two models that a marketer adopts when he goes into lead generation, and if he chooses the digital marketing channel. So at this point, it's important for us to realize as digital marketing professionals, and I already realized that we are, as marketers, the enablers of social media, the enablers of search engines. So, and we are allowing pretty much for these models and for these services to be sustainable, which is great, which is really, really good. And more than that, the issue is that these channels, these advertising channels, are they really have added value, right? Because right now they have also the behavior history of all its users, and they allow me to target the message in a very, very specific way. So, of course, that also is part of the other side of the story that I'm also going to bring today, because of course that also creates the opportunity for the biggest data breaches, the biggest privacy issues that we're living right now. So and I do believe that as 3D first, and then virtual and augmented reality, and finally the metaverse hits the mainstream, we will be having a lot more problems if we don't take measures. So that's pretty much where I want to go. Hope you're in for a journey. So and to begin with, I really, really believe that we are lined up to have like this 3D format as a standard during this decade. And I'm really, really, really sure that this is going to happen really quickly. And why? Well, this was actually my 7-year-old son that taught me, because when I showed him for the first time a website, I didn't show him. He peeked and he saw a website, and then he asked me, "What is that?" And I told him, "Well, it's a website." And he asked me, "So what's a website?" And I said, "Well, a website is a place where you have information available for everyone on the internet, everyone on the web to access." He said, "Okay." And he was puzzled. Why? Well, because his version of information exploring is this one. He right now he is like total ninja of Minecraft. He knows the tricks. He sees the YouTube channels. He has friends. So right now, for him, it's much more normal, common to explore information in a 3D format. Not just for him, of course. We're talking about like this ecosystem that right now gathers 450 million users, which is kind of big. But it's not just Minecraft, of course. If you go like one generation up, then you have Fortnite and you have 350 million users. Now, mind you, we're talking about 350 million users that, okay, they play these games, but more than that, they interact. And more than interacting, they have to actually have like experiences. Like for instance, during the Travis Scott, there were several concerts, musical concerts on Fortnite, but Travis Scott's was really, really intense in the sense that it gathered 11.4 million simultaneous users that were there just to share this musical event. That again happened in a 3D world. So this is say that at this point, talking about if 3D is going to come fast or 3D, no, 3D is already here. Right now, we already have 3D content exploration platforms, right? So, and this is really, really important for us to understand that we're not talking about like, oh, well, yeah, the future. No, this is not the future. We're talking about something that is happening right now. And we're talking about something that is real. And this is an important part. Let's talk about reality. So that really nice lady in the beginning did an intro on what augmented reality and virtual reality is. Let's go through that again. So virtual reality, what are we talking about? We're talking about, well, replacing physical reality by a digital one. So what does this mean? This means that suddenly, by putting on a headset, I have, first of all, I am thrown into this dedicated experience. So wherever I go, let's call it, we can call it immersive. Again, you are immersed in that place, but by doing that, you are dedicated to that experience. And this is really important because right now, if you go elsewhere, For instance, right now, I have like mobile phones next to me. So if they ring, I need to react because I will be full of shame, and then I will need to go there and press stop, right? So this is an issue because, it's a characteristic of virtual reality, because as I am immersed, as I am in the middle of the experience itself, then I am, again, much more prone to become involved with the experience. And the experience can be very, very enticing in the sense that it can be unique. What I'm talking about, for instance, the possibility of you being teleported to the bottom of the sea and then afterwards to the surface of the moon in like 10 seconds, which is something absolutely impossible to happen, at least to my knowledge, physically, or in our world, in real life, right? So, but the issue is that while doing that, we are immersed. We are in a dedicated experience. So what does this mean? This means that we have, after all of that happened, we have a full memory of being a part of that experience, right? So virtual reality, by being a dedicated and immersive experience and by creating unique experiences, actually enables and triggers more memorable experiences, right? So if we're talking about augmented reality, then it's a bit different, because we're not replacing the physical reality by a digital one. We are actually overlaying digital objects over the physical world or over spaces. And by doing that, we are actually changing the meaning of those places. What does this mean? This means that, for instance, I can use an interface like smart glasses or smartphones to look through these interfaces to a building, and that building can be, just your plain old in real life building, or it can be like a work of art, or it can be like a recreation of a 17th century building, or it can be like, I don't know, Zelda's palace, whatever. So it can actually change the meaning. And again, it can change the way that I interact with spaces, that I interact with objects. So what does this mean? This means that I will be in touch and I will recall that experience with those spaces and objects in a different way. So the way that digital affects how I remember my experience, how I remember my life, leads me to say that digital, while not being physical, is real. And this is a really important part of this presentation, because and also a very it's a key fact that makes it all so important. Because again, like for instance, when we had like COVID in the end, I think it was in 2020. So when we had the New Year's Eve concerts last year, so entering or coming into 2021, there were like 72 million users connected. Well, not all in VR, but some of them in VR to Jean-Michel Jarre's concert. And so this to say that the numbers are already here. People already appreciate these kind of experiences. Like for instance, if you go into Rec Room, there are more than 1 million users already connected monthly, and they are a unicorn. And right now it's very easy for you to like use these kind of filters. So it's I think very it's acceptable to say that digital right now, it affects the way that we communicate, affects the way that we pass on messages, and how we live and spend our time, and how we remember it. And that's pretty much a very important part of our lives, right? How we remember it and also how we share it, right? So this is with this scenario set, then I'd like to pick up on immersive marketing per se, and talk a bit about how we have been doing immersive marketing, and well, at least during the last decade, and then look a bit further and see what aspects are bound to change, and well, also share some opinions on what is going to happen in immersive marketing and immersive advertising in the coming years with, well, let's say XR and afterwards the metaverse going a bit more mainstream. So the last decade, of course, last decade started with YouTube, ended with, I don't know, TikTok, but it also ended with this. So whenever people and whenever businesses say, oh yeah, but augmented reality and immersive marketing is still a niche business. Yeah, well, guess what? It's not. Of course, we're mainly talking about filters and filter advertising. And of course, filters are really, really, really important as a medium to pass on at this point branded messages. But augmented reality also allows not just to change people's faces and allow them to well, interact in this way with and well, gamify the experience, but also to, for instance, allow for this kind of interaction. So as you see, there was this, this is a campaign that allowed for every, well, Burger King customer to actually set McDonald's advertising on fire. And by doing such, getting like a free Whopper. Again, very straightforward activation. And this, of course, is just an example. With well, COVID, you had a lot of, you had a huge increase on e-commerce, and well, sales at a distance rose, but there were several benefits that augmented reality brought in to specific vendors, like this one, as you can see. And here's the try-on. And try-ons happen not just on, well, these kind of objects that pretty much recognized, for instance, the hands. She will try that, there you have it. But also on, well, shoes. And here recognizing the feet, right? So again, augmented reality as a whole has been playing a role in retail and in allowing at a distance for, again, experiences, branded experiences, in this case, try-on, to happen. But more than that, for instance, the ever-present Pokemon Go, I said ever-present because we already had that reference in the intro talk. Pokemon Go was very, very important because it kind of made augmented reality, or brought augmented reality, the augmented reality term, into the mainstream. But more than that, it also, again, changed the way that we interacted with like spaces in the city, right? And again, augmented reality has that power. And even more, the possibility of having like, yeah, in your own home, augmented reality experiences that allowed you to make better choices, that allowed you to choose the best product, and more than that, the product that actually fit the places where you, well, where you want to put it, and by doing such can have like a nice impact in reducing, for instance, return rates. So of course, by doing this during the last decade, we created a lot of benefits directly to consumers, especially talking about, well, this last year where we had COVID struck society and we had like this huge, well, not huge, the biggest remote work, remote entertainment, remote education experience in all of mankind, right? So it was really, really important, and it played a big role. And more than that, right now, I think that it's fair to say that all of us are more and more at ease with immersive technologies. Although, again, headsets are not like everywhere, but still, it's fair to say that all of the advantages at this point are, well, pretty much aware, and we are pretty much aware of these advantages. So this is not going to go away. But at the same time, mind you, if you look at these pictures, you will see that we're talking about recognizing our faces, recognizing our hands, also our feet, recognizing our houses, and also recognizing everything on the streets, right? So like at this point, we are activating all of, our experiences at the expense of, data that is, pretty much everywhere. And most of it is, private. We're talking about like our house, our hands. But we kind of, didn't bother about it. And we were not, I don't, at this point, we are not that, it's not like a big issue, at least for most of the users, doing this, right? And like changing their faces to become of a different gender or to become older. So again, augmented reality at this point, like led us, and virtual reality also, led us to be more freely participate in data gathering, let's say like that. Well, then what is going to change, or what I'm seeing changing in this coming decade, or decade where we are at this point? Well, of course, you've heard the buzzword of the hour. Well, it's not of the hour right now. I'm guessing that it's the buzzword of the year, the metaverse, right? And it was pretty much hyped up with by Mark Zuckerberg when he changed Facebook's name and pretty much created this quest for this world where you can have all those experiences, and that is really, really interesting. It is, but and this is a really, really important part. It also highlighted the potential problems that like giving all that information, all that muscle, let's say like that, to just one company can bring to our lives. But taking a step back and actually seeing the metaverse as a concept, and although there is no accepted definition for it at this point, I would say that the metaverse right now like combines 4 major areas. So we're talking about social media and communities. So clearly that's one big area. Second one is blockchain with cryptos and NFTs. Third one, all the gaming and gamers. We're talking Roblox, Minecraft. So all the 3D content right now already in place, and that also gathers communities already. And then the fourth one is XR. And this is the ecosystem of the diagram that pretty much is found on the web that highlights a bit more about that. But the whole point is that we are building, and one of the major quests that I already said it, Mark Zuckerberg brought in, and that well, right now Roblox with its new chief metaverse officer and so many Unity and so many other companies are looking for, is to create like this place, this really let's say I wouldn't say paradise, but like well, this is not the best expression, but let's say like an oasis with the well, with hitting the the movie Ready Player One. But the whole point is to create augmented reality and virtual reality worlds that are interacting with each other, between which we can go and that we can travel. And the whole point right now is that we are, as digital marketing professionals, on the verge of actually having like this huge possibility of transforming worlds and creating new worlds, which is really interesting, because this means that at this point, as marketing professionals, we are able to clearly create from the bottom up huge branded experiences that allow for all of our consumers, all of our users to, well, get more into our principles, our values, relate, and at a given point in time, they can even spend like times of their days inside, well, the worlds that we create, which is really big. Mind you, when I'm saying about the worlds, I'm talking not just about VR worlds, so worlds where you put in the headsets and then you go immerse yourself, but also talking about, well, augmented reality worlds. So filtered versions of our physical reality, as we talked. Now, this is enabled by this technology, well, a set of technologies, which we call the AR cloud, which at this time, what it does in a very, let's say, simplified way, is to create like a 3D scan model of the world. That's the whole purpose of spaces. And overall, the final purpose is to create like a 3D model of the world where that is persistent and where augmented reality experiences can be made available for every user all the time and in a multiplayer way. So allowing for several users to see the same experience and interact. And this scan is not just about one building or two. Again, the purpose of this scan is actually to allow for the whole world to hold these kind of services, these kind of experiences. And the opportunities for services, for augmented reality services, are huge, absolutely transformative, because now you have the possibility of like invoke any kind of store whenever you want. You have the possibility to download and see in front of you the digital twin of whatever device or furniture or name your product that you want to buy before doing that. Or you can collaborate with your colleagues, holoported colleagues, and also, well, pretty much the objects and your tools, your professional tools, all in augmented reality. And you will be doing that, interacting in a much simpler way than by using this. This is probably, maybe you're not really, we got used to this, but maybe you're not aware, but this is like the weirdest invention of mankind. You see that it's like has this little roller ball, and then what is this? And just to like drag this arrow across the screen, it's weird, right? It's much easier for you to like just, well, look to places and see and activate, for instance, when you look to something for it to actually be there, and then if you stare at something, then you trigger a command. That is much easier, and then afterwards you can just also through speech also activate some commands. And again, gestures, body movement, all of that will be much simpler than just by using these platforms, right? And mind you, we're talking about 3D exploration across the world, so we won't be like limited to a screen, right? So all of our communication, all of our message will be able to be spread it out. So we will be able to like create several kinds of tracks, several kinds of tours, like storytelling, brand storytelling is going to become a huge industry. And now, mind you, add to that the fact that we're going to, again, be able to interact with several services, several programs in 3D. One of the, let's say, most used programs right now are artificial intelligence assistants. So we're talking about Siri, we're talking about Alexa, we're talking about Google Home. Well, if they become embodied in augmented reality, then of course, they might be able to help us in so many ways. Not just in ways that allow us to have like an experience that, for instance, connects us with a heritage place or with that exhibition in a museum, but also, for instance, just going down to the shopping and just doing my shopping with Alexa by my side and actually talking to her and she replying, and that is going. So this to say that, mind you, we will also be able to create experiences and to create artificial intelligences that will be adding to the experience. And these artificial intelligences will be part of the experience. At the same time, our consumers, our users, will become more available to discussing this and to talking with these artificial intelligences, because we're not talking about chatbots, right? We're talking about like an embodied entity with which I am talking to, which is a bit different, right? And again, the possibility of having that alongside someone that is physically there, alongside with someone that is holoported there, that is digitally present, so it is being like streamed in to a place, kind of makes, again, our experience of presence very different from what we had before, right? So we as digital marketing professionals should take that also into consideration, because presence, human presence, is going to, the meaning of human presence, that is going to change. And again, getting back to the artificial intelligence ones, we're going to see a lot of services being enabled by these kind of entities. So that's going to be a huge transformation. And mind you, all of these new channels or new sub channels inside these big set of almost infinite worlds are going also to allow for new conversion. So all of our techniques to generate leads and to convert our leads into customers will have to change, because suddenly we're not talking about like feeding ebooks or just passing on like this text for people. That will not be part of a marketing strategy in a 3D world, right? And you understand why. So it's really important to start thinking about not just like the experience marketing possibilities that these technologies bring, because you already, as marketing professionals, already thought about that, but also what new lead magnets are you going to create in 3D? How are you going to really convert your lead, and how is that going to happen? So how's that funnel going to actually be activated? It's going to be so transformative, and this is pretty much a part of what I really wanted to pass on to you. Also, we're talking now just about advertising, but mind you, social media is going to change a lot, and pretty much Mark Zuckerberg also talked about that. And what about search engines, right? So how right now Google and Bing, I guess, won't be that that useful, right? Because we will need to search spatially. So and how will advertising models also run on top of this, right? On these new search engines, they need to be contextually visible, right? But how will the formats happen? Right now, there are several experiences being made, but this to say that, again, SEO, search engine marketing, all of those disciplines are going to take a really good hit with, again, the metaverse and XR. So, but the bottom line I wanted to pass on with all of this is that we do have this brave new world, pun intended, with a lot of great new services and a lot of huge possibilities for us, digital marketing professionals, especially because we will be not just in a position of huge power, because we will be influencing the perception of our consumers at a level that we never did before. But more than that, we will probably be the responsible, or the professionals responsible for bringing the first XR or meaningful XR and metaverse experiences to most of the people in the planet. And this is saying a lot. And yeah, that's why it's so important that we understand that all that we do. So when we say that we're going to bring in those experiences to our consumers, that we're going to get in like devices around us to send us information, and also that we're going to scan rooms and scan objects and scan also, well, pretty much the world, and that we're going to, allow for a better user experience and for a better user interface. It's important that we realize that what we're doing is actually also gathering data. And all of the data that we actually got until now is nothing compared to the amount of data that I can get from eye tracking, from gestures, from body movement, from your voice. So, mind you, the fact that I am capturing my consumers or my users' movements allows me to enable neuromarketing techniques, but on steroids and on the fly. And this is impactful. This will be truly impactful, not just because we do need to have, like, first and foremost, an ethical approach to this, but these are also the topics that usually gather, the interest of, again, big corporates. This treasure trove of data allows for, a bigger targeting of all the advertising message to be done. So it again adds more and more value to, social media and search engine platforms. But again, also on the other side, and that's why we need to also act responsibly, it also has an impact on, well, our lives. And that's pretty much what we see around us, right? So we have like deepfakes happening. Try and guess what deepfakes would be or will be when people have access to your biometric data. It's bad, right? Like, for instance, fake news. If someone actually hijacks your smart glasses and allows you or infects you with like a virus, let's call it like that, that, for instance, turns everyone around you into one, converts everyone that you see to one gender or to one race. That might have an impact on your bias, right? Again, so there are several problems that right now exist. And you know what? We might talk about regulations, but regulations are always happening after the fact is there, right? I do believe that us as marketers, we that are responsible for bringing new experiences, these new experiences to the consumers, I think that we need to become a bit more responsible about this. I do believe that it's important that we contribute to a great metaverse, to a great extended reality experience. And as such, we also should not forget about our social and our ethical values and the ethical values of the customers and brands that we represent, right? So, of course, again, I'm not saying that we are going towards this title of this article that that is published on the World Economic Forum page. But then again, I think it's very, very important to like sit back and for you also to think about a bit more about why are we probably walking towards this? Because we're choosing right now technological advancement, mainly because we're looking for more convenient solutions and also to become safer. So as consumers and markets, we are more and more guided by our fears and by our expectations of comfort rather than for anything else. So again, us as marketers, I think that it's also important for us to be aware of this, but and we are aware that fear is always, well, a great buyer, say like that. But more than that, the issue is that we need to also be able to open the minds of people to, well, other realities, especially because it's very, very important to like, first off, create this visibility about what privacy is, because if sometimes we choose to become safer by providing our data, we're actually becoming unsafer. And it's really, really important that, and right now we see this happening, that people are starting to realize that being safe or being anonymous is not exactly the same thing as being safe. Because, well, I might be anonymous, but due to several inferences, a company can actually recognize me in the middle of 1,000 people. And again, being anonymous is not being private also. Because, again, if there's some level of notion about what I do at a given point in time, that data might be crossed with some other data, might be bought, might be out there. So it's really, really important. I do believe that at this point, we are walking during this decade to a market where privacy in itself will become a market. And we, as marketing professionals, should become aware of that. So you already have like companies doing that and providing like added value privacy services. And I'm guessing that that will be increasing. And again, why? Well, because there's an audience for that. And that's pretty much how capitalism works, right? So also, another thing that I see is that right now, we are overvaluing convenience, right? And we are also delegating a bit more in parts of our lives to technology. And that is happening because no one actually taught us how to use all of this. And it's getting worse because we're getting more and more technology in our lives. And it's really, really hard to cope with all of that because, well, again, no one's actually, even discussing how to use it. We just use it because, well, again, it makes us comfortable and it makes us better and it's more convenient and all of that. Great. But I also believe that education on the privacy and also on ethics and on using the metaverse will start becoming, well, more and more available across the board, and probably it will become also a discipline in the coming years as e-commerce or digital marketing is. And again, talking about digital marketing, I think as a whole, and I'm almost finishing, as a whole, I think that marketers right now are becoming more mindful of all of this transformation, ecological also due to, well, pretty much everything that is happening around us, but never forgetting that they are marketers, right? So, pretty much the vision that I also wanted to share, the last vision, was of a new chief marketing officer that is 1/3 marketer, 1/3 futurist, and 1/3 activist. So this is pretty much my vision of what the future marketing professional should be. And this is pretty much, I think, also the marketing professional that we need in the future, not just like a guy that sells, not just a guy that tries and push forward the message. That will probably be machines doing that, mind you, in like not so many years. So we need to start being more human, and we need to start getting more value to our customers by being human. And that's a great note to be off again. Thank you very much for all of this. These are my contacts. That's the URL of the company where I am Chief Marketing Officer. We deal with manufacturing if you're interested. And meanwhile, I'm all ears for any questions that you might have. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for this session. I learned a lot about it, and it made me very aware of a couple of things. Really, really good talk. We don't have any questions from the audience, but I have a couple for you,
okay,
if you don't mind. Yeah,
absolutely.
So, you triggered something in your talk. A couple of years around the time that the HoloLens got released and the Google glasses were produced. AR, VR, MR were quite hot, right? Yeah. And then we all experienced that the market, the consumer market and the business market weren't really ready for it at that moment. Now you mentioned marketing is already using it. That's right. I experienced this as well, quite some time now. And it opens up enormous possibilities. But how long do you think it will take before this technology is going to be embraced fully by both consumers and both businesses?
So regarding augmented reality and virtual reality, maybe I'll separate both. So starting with virtual reality, I think that there will be like a huge burst in virtual reality in the coming year, not just due to the push that Facebook Meta is doing, but also due to the 5G rollout. So right now you have like big telcos, big corporates that need to prove that infrastructure can enable really cool things. So I'm guessing that there will be like a bigger distribution or a bigger visibility of these headsets in people's houses during the next year. So regarding augmented reality, I think that it's a bit different because as in virtual reality, you have like let's say it's still a very game oriented and niche oriented, and also business to business. So advertising doesn't play that big of a role at this point, only in specific platforms like, for instance, VR Chat or Rec Room. If you go to augmented reality, it's almost seamless the way that right now it integrates with social media, the way that it integrates with some advertising platforms, even like, for instance, the possibility of doing like augmented reality ads and connecting them with, again, pay-per-click ads. That's really, really interesting. And again, why? Because people tend to consume them not as augmented reality, but as just ads. And that's pretty much, I think, where you know that things hit mainstream. It's like right now, if I say to my kids, well, can you please send me the UMMS? No one knows what that is, right? So people need to just, okay, so send me the photo, send me the image. It's pretty much like that. So I think that it has to do, we will start seeing a rise, a continued rise in these services. If you ask me regarding what I just said regarding this future vision of well, again, filtered worlds and applied campaigns and again augmented reality and virtual reality experiences, that is bound to happen probably further down the road, because we still have like to make smart glasses or augmented reality glasses something, well, more mainstream. Well, not even mainstream. Let's start by a niche and then move forward from there. And people will need to start interacting with all these different ways and different services in a positive way. So I think it might take a while for all of that vision to actually kick in. But hey, a decade is 10 years, so I'm guessing that is going to happen now. Advertising wise, I think that although there are several models that are already being tested, I'm guessing that it's going still to take a while on the smart glasses. Again, on everything else, it's going to be as it is right now, so much more well, seamless as it is.
Okay, yeah, interesting. So it's going to take a while before it's become fully mainstream and embedded in our daily lives.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the issue is that that gives us time for us also to think about these topics, because at this point it's really important for us, for instance, how to filter though the problems, how to filter, how can I filter out all of the information or augmented reality information while I'm while I'm wearing the glasses. How can I, like, on the other hand, for instance, at this point right now, for instance, you have Facebook glasses with Ray-Ban. So they're called Ray-Ban Stories, I think. right now, if you cannot avoid someone else recording you. Again, and if you go like on their privacy policy, pretty much it just refer to the user. Now, they don't tag you, they don't, but Facebook, Meta, knows that you're the one actually stepping out of the shoe store. So guess what they're going to show you on their ads next time that you connect to Facebook or to a Facebook connected website. That's going to happen. And again, that's like tenfold of a risk when we're talking about augmented reality and virtual reality. So that's also a good thing, I guess, for us to have time to think about how to cope with that.
And also how to handle indeed privacy and security issues, because we have a big challenge nowadays with our current applications, and it's going to be much bigger in the future with these types of technologies. Yeah, correct.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and totally agree. We also have a couple of questions popping in, so let's put one on the screen. Do you think Facebook or Meta will succeed in dominating the market, and does it really matter?
Well, yes, it does matter, and I don't think that will happen for several reasons, and being the main one that their vision is not. I think, although they say that it's interoperable and that it's a vision where, of course, it's a corporate world. And again, I do believe that Facebook is going to have a very big presence, as it has right now. So Facebook represents more than 50% of the headset market in VR at this point. So that's really, really impactful. And they are hiring like 10,000 people in Europe. I'm right now talking from Lisbon in Portugal, Europe. So and this is huge. So of course the bet that they're doing is truly impactful, and that's really great. Again, they're driving a lot of research. They're driving a lot of new stuff onto the market. They're bringing to the mainstream communication and most of the topics and most of the technologies that sometimes that we were thinking or just discussing in like work groups, like I don't know, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Now they have like the millions and the investment capability of actually pushing these forward. Now, the whole topic is that there are several other players also on the market that do that. And add to that the fact that right now, everyone is talking about making it interoperable, making it open, making it the next version of the internet. That's pretty much what we want to, right? But doing it in a really cool way. So just like making it some kind of a corporate club doesn't really connect with that concept. So this to say that I don't see that happening, but clearly they will be, I won't say dominating, but they will be very, very important in the next couple of years as others also start also rising. And don't forget, never forget all the other big ones, because, well, Google is out there, Microsoft, well, Microsoft is already present in the XR world, but again, not in cryptos. So we'll see how things fare on that side. Again, all in all, it's really important to, as a marketing professional, to be very attentive onto what's happening, like on a weekly basis, and at the same time, as a consumer, to be, I would say, educating ourselves on all these topics, because it's both a personal and a professional education that you're getting.
Yeah, agreed. We have one more and last question. What cryptocurrencies do you think will be used more within the metaverse with regards to ads, etc.? Or do you think fiat will be more common in the world of advertising?
I think, well, that takes us to yet another question, which is, will fiat currency be around for how much long? I do believe that cryptos are here to stay, mostly due to the fact that they are propelling communities, and the principles behind those communities of transparency, of decentralization, and of solidarity between all members is a great principle. And it actually connects with something that people are looking for socially, they are not seeing right now in the real world, which is, well, right now we see in the real world is polarization, and no one is actually trying to talk. People are yelling. So again, this to say that I do believe that cryptos are going to be here to stay. That said, I do believe that in regard to ads, they are not there. They don't exist yet, the ones that will matter. I'm guessing that the ones that will matter probably will be connected with or being promoted by either the social media, the game engines, or like big corporates that already have like XR worlds going forward. So this to say that there might be well, there might be, I'm sure that there will be like several new currencies coming in that will make a huge difference. But at the same time, I'd say that the present cryptos are also, well, good investments. And if you are, well, not all of them, of course, don't take this as an investment advice. But this to say
stay
that,
away from that. Yeah.
exactly. But this to say that it's well, it's something that is going to be here for quite some time. So it's very, very important, again, as a marketing professional, for all of us to get acquainted with all that market dynamics that cryptos bring, and also NFTs. NFTs are for me, they are the most transformational, but that's a whole other talk. The most transformational part of the metaverse in like 5 years. They're going to like turn services into products. They're going to turn memories into products. They're going to turn into assets or into goods, not necessarily products. And the issue is that people will start like valuing little files, because those little files are going to have meaning to people, and that's going to be great. Well, again, I find it great. Others won't.
I still need to learn a lot about it, but it is really great. It's really interesting. Yeah. Okay, we have one more question coming in. Okay, let's do it. We are a bit over time, but let's do it. Do you believe that in a marketing point of view, brands should start to adapt their type of e-commerce, introducing VR into their business, or is today still too expensive?
I guess that it all boils down to the kind of business that you have. So because expensive, it's always kind of a word that you can only qualify, or that you can only compare, saying expensive or cheap, when we're talking about the market. So for instance, if we're talking about like paying 50,000 euros for a unique Louis Vuitton bag, maybe it's cheap. I don't know. So, but for if you're going to pay the same exact amount for a bag from any other brand or another common brand, it's really, really expensive. So I think that at this point you have a lot of e-commerce solutions, like for instance in China, Taobao already has like a service, a VR e-commerce service that actually works quite well. I think it has to do at this time with mainly two things. So the first one is, of course, headset availability. So does your audience own a headset, or are they available to tap into a headset in order to actually access your VR experience? Then the second one has to do with, okay, so what kind of benefit am I providing with the VR experience, or is it just a gimmick for people to enjoy it? So let me give you an example. So for instance, well, I'm in Portugal, and you're too in Portugal, and pretty much it's a country where, well, wine plays, tourism and wine plays a big role. So port wine, all of that, but not just port wine. So you have a lot of small producers, and the way that small producers sell is to invite like people in to do like small, let's call them fam trips, where you have like people coming in and doing visiting, doing tours, and actually getting in touch with not just the product, but also the company, the family that actually produces the wines, all of that. So with COVID, that actually didn't happen anymore, right? Because people were not even allowed on the plane. So in that sense, you had several of these producers actually tapping into virtual reality, creating virtual reality experiences, and then passing them on to their distributors alongside with the glasses that enabled these distributors to go in and to present to their potential buyers. We're talking about like wholesale buyers, to experiment a bit more about, well, what their winery is, and what their full brand experience is all about. So again, if we're talking about, for instance, real estate, same thing, happened exactly the same thing using virtual reality. So I'm guessing that, yeah, it kind of depends on the industry, but right now there are several ones that are already leveraging XR to push their business forward.
Yeah, great, great. Thanks a lot. So thanks a lot for your session, Luis. Very interesting. And thanks for answering the questions. A lot of valuable answers. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
We will be seeing you later on in this during this conference. So stay tuned for Luis's session. So thanks a lot for watching. We will have a small break right now. We will be back in an hour with a lot of new and awesome sessions. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.